Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Joey. I've already done a couple videos on my channel about Joshua Fabia and Diego Sanchez, their bizarre relationship. I've talked about their training videos, all the other bizarre stuff that's come out of their mouths. And I just recently did a video about Diego saying he cuts all professional ties with Joshua Fabia, so he's no longer his manager, agent, doctor, nurse, mechanic, dentist. And I really thought that I was done talking about these two for a while. But Joshua Fabia went on a podcast since the Diego Sanchez split up, and he really said some very strange things. And I listened to the entire podcast. It was about 30, 35 minutes, and I cut out some of the best pieces of audio from that podcast, and we're going to listen to them and react to them. And this is super strange. He says some very weird things. Um, I feel like in some of the cases, the interviewers didn't have enough knowledge to, kind of, challenge him on certain things. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's listen to a clip. This is the very beginning of the interview. And this is probably the least bizarre clip of all of them. So let's listen to that real quick.
Now, how do you feel about your relationship now with Diego Sanchez and the experience you've had with the UFC since meeting Diego in 2019?
Well, in the beginning, I would say it was just a normal client training type relationship. And everything in my perception of reality was that Diego Sanchez is a professional MMA fighter who is employing me to help him as he has a lot of healing necessary and wanting to change his point of view on how to do things a little differently. Because in the past, he had been kind of just willing to run into punches. And I was offering him another option, like, we can move out of the way first.
So as you see there, it's a very bizarre interview, and that's the least strange stuff that he said. One thing I did want to take note of is he said, in my perception of reality. And I'm very happy that he said that, because at least that shows he has a little bit of awareness to know that his perception of reality is different from everybody else's perception of reality. He's living in a different universe. This guy needs some mental help. He has no idea what he's talking about. And look at the way he spoke about MMA training. Diego's running into too many punches, and I wanted to tell him that, he didn't have to run into that many punches. He could avoid them. What a weirdo. Just straight up weird. Let me play you another clip where, this is one of the milder clips again, but I just wanted to share as much as possible without, clipping out the whole interview, where he talks about, basically he's implying Diego's poor. Part of me is wondering, we'll talk about it after the clip. Let's listen to the clip first.
I deal with lots and lots of people. Everything seemed pretty normal. Diego was definitely a celebrity. He had some celebrity asshole tendencies. He didn't like tipping, and he did some weird stuff in front of me that, threw up some red flags. But over time, just talking to him, it kind of just seemed, like I said, the celebrity stuff.
What do you mean weird stuff?
Well, I just mean things like you get a divorce and you have a child, but you get a one-bedroom condo. Like, things just didn't make sense to me. But I'm thinking, okay, he's got his own plans. He knows what he's going to do. I mean, maybe it's just super temperate. Like, I don't know, And I'm wondering, why is he driving around a $3,000 Mercedes, right? Like, just questions that throw up flags. But I'm thinking, hey, he's telling me he's frugal. He's saving his money. He's okay, okay.
So there, Joshua Fabia, whatever it is, Labia, he goes on to talk about Diego driving a cheap Mercedes and having a one-bedroom apartment, which the one-bedroom apartment, I want to get back to that comment very later in this video, because there was something that he said that was very interesting to me, but we'll save that for later. So part of me is thinking, is this guy saying, what I hear, when I hear him say, about Diego, basically implying that Diego's poor. What I really hear is, I thought Diego had more money than he actually had. That's what I hear. So tell me if I'm crazy, but that's what I hear when I hear those words come out of his mouth. Okay, the next clip I wanted to share, which I thought was awesome, sweet that they asked him about this, was they asked him about the hanging upside down and the punches to the head. What method of training was that, and why was he doing that? And this was his answer.
And one of the things people tend to ask a lot about these days is that small clip you guys put up of you having Diego hang from the A-frame or the bars, and essentially using him as a punching bag. So it's kind of the question of, was that more his decision, your decision, and what was the method of training behind that?
Okay, those are several questions, and they're all very easy to answer. Let me work backwards, though. The first one you said, what is the method? Well, you can go onto YouTube right now and go look at body hardening, and you will see some of the most ridiculous things way beyond what you see me doing. What I was doing are gentle in comparison to what you will see others doing, okay? It's a very normal practice.
So there he goes on to talk about the upside down training and, saying that he's body hardening Diego, and that if you look it up on YouTube, there's plenty of ridiculous clips. Keyword ridiculous. That is ridiculous. This man is hanging upside down. He's punching him in the skull. What is he training him to be Spider-Man? I just really don't understand it. He goes on to talk about it a little bit more, and apparently they say something about Conor McGregor challenging what he's doing, that he does body hardening, and that basically, how is this body hardening if you're punching him square in the chin and face? That's not really body hardening. That's, giving the man CTE. So I'll play that clip for you. Listen to this real quick. It's pretty hilarious.
Oh, I was going to say, well, the complaints online with it are usually that when you're doing the body hardening, it's not done towards the head. So I think it had more to do with them being concerned that he already had CTE and then getting smacked in the head versus the body hardening. Yeah. So, I mean, Conor McGregor is really well known for doing the body hardening, and he does some dumbass shit. I'd like to remind everyone, every time we swear on this show, we give money to the Boys and Girls Club of America, the Humane Society of America, and Free MMA. We swear because we care. We had to put that disclaimer in because I can't control my mouth. Sorry.
There you go. So the reality is, okay, that's beautiful for McGregor to say, but he also just got knocked the fuck out.
So basically he goes on to really give a non-answer. And when she says, well, Conor McGregor does it, and he doesn't get punched in the skull, he says, well, Conor McGregor just got knocked the fuck out. What does Conor McGregor getting smoked by Dustin Poirier have to do with the fact that you're hanging your fighter upside down and punching him in the head, trying to give him CTE? I just don't get it at all. Very strange. He goes on to defend his training method as if it's a realistic training method and it has real tangible effects. But then he kind of contradicts himself because he says the UFC set it all up and, they were there to shoot, whatever they were there to shoot. Let me play that clip for you too.
And what is happening in that is not training. Are you guys, do you see how ridiculous that narrative setup is? No, the truth is that video was leaked. By who? It's the highest production fucking video I've ever had done. You think it's the UFC? Yeah, it's the fucking UFC that came and filmed us and didn't say a fucking word about, oh, that looks dangerous. No, they're cheering us on and they love it.
So there you go. There's his answer. The UFC set him up. They were there filming it and they enjoyed it and they were lapping it up. But you were just defending that it had legitimate effects. I really don't understand it. Luckily, the interviewer says, well, why would the UFC set you up? Because basically he's implying the UFC filmed this and then released it to make him look bad, which, how did he not know that was going to make him look bad? And if you remember, in that recording, he turns to the camera and says, you're recording, right? Which I thought was extremely bizarre to begin with. Why would he want somebody recording that? But anyway, in this next clip, the interviewer asked him why the UFC would set him up, and this was his answer, and it's kind of a non-answer. So don't get your hopes up. Here it is.
My question would then be, why do you think, if you feel that the UFC is setting you up, why would they be doing that?
Oh, well, now we're getting somewhere. See, finally someone asked me the right questions. See, nobody's ever talking to me, for one, about any of the training that I do that is so scandalous. because nobody really wants to hear any of the answers.
Okay, so basically he goes on to give a non-answer, but did you hear the way he sounded there? Oh, now we're getting somewhere. This guy sounds like he has the psyche of a potential future mass shooter. He almost sounds like Elliot Rodger. If you guys don't know who that is, he was a mass shooter from a couple years ago in California. He posted a couple videos to YouTube, ranting and raving. And I swear, Fabia reminds me of this guy. I think Fabia may be a danger to society. Somebody needs to get his head checked out. He basically gives a non-answer yet again. He's not answering any questions. And then he goes on to really accuse, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, a massive accusation, implying that Nevada wanted Diego to throw a fight. Listen to this clip. It's so strange.
So this moment happens where the Nevada State Commission comes in and leans on Diego, and he has to throw a fucking fight. Now, I have him recorded coming in, and then they
are you trying to say that? Are you saying that he was told that he has to throw this fight? They told him he has to lose this bout.
You go watch the fight, and it's the only fight in Diego Sanchez's history that he never threw a punch.
That's not an answer. We're looking for a direct answer. Did they tell him he had to throw a fight?
The way that they did it is in the lean, which is in talking to somebody and dangling their license and explaining, are you really trying to hurt this man? You're not trying to hurt him, are you, Diego? You're a sportsman, Diego. You've always been a good guy, Diego. You're not going to do anything with malicious intent, are you, Diego?
So there he goes to accuse Nevada State Athletic Commission of trying to pressure Diego to throw a fight. So for people who aren't super familiar with what fight he's talking about, it's really hard to try to understand this accusation, but I know exactly what he's talking about because I remember what was going on at this particular point in time, which if you don't follow sports super closely, you may not remember. So he didn't say it specifically in the interview, but he's talking about Diego's fight against Michael Chiesa. And the reason supposedly this type of interaction happened with the athletic commission was before the fight, Fabia and Diego went and told the commission that Fabia had taught Diego this new choke, and it was basically a death choke, and that if Diego got it, the referee needed to step in right away, and otherwise Michael Chiesa would be killed or, permanently injured. And that's why the commission was like, what's going on here, and probably inquired about what was going on more from the two. And also he goes on to say, when they asked him directly, was he asked to throw a fight? He says, well, look at his performance. He never threw a punch. Well, I'll tell you why he never threw a punch. If you watch the fight, you would know. Michael Chiesa absolutely dominated him in every grappling aspect of that entire fight, took him down for 3 rounds, had his back, was ground and pounding him. So that's why he never threw a punch. He wasn't throwing the fight. He was looking for takedowns of his own. So stop making excuses. He's just making excuses for why Diego got dominated. And he's trying to just stir up controversy. This guy's a straight up creep, an idiot. He's deranged. He needs mental help. Let's go on to the next clip. They ask him, why did him and Diego split up? And basically he gives a non-answer again.
Now, if I fast forward you to now this separation, which is due to me leaving Diego because of me finding out new information.
Oh, so he broke up with Diego. Diego didn't break up with him. That's what he's saying. Does this guy not sound like a jealous ex-girlfriend? I really truly believe, and I have no information other than what I'm, taking from this interview on this podcast from Fabia. I really think, what happened was the ex-wife, and we'll get into some clips in a minute, the ex-wife of Diego who has a kid with him, people around Diego really started to put the pressure and to try to get Diego away from this guy. And the guy was just an absolute parasite to Diego, taking advantage of him every turn. And I think the reason Fabia maybe was able to, split up easier, maybe he didn't fight it as hard, is because I honestly believe he realized the money was probably dried up. I don't think any other promotion is going to pick Diego up. After, some of these bizarre videos came out, he's not going to get a fat lawsuit check, which everyone and their mother thought that Fabia was really looking for. So really he has no use for Diego anymore. Here's a clip. Again, they ask him, what happened, and basically he kind of goes on a deranged rant about the ex-wife and Dana talking. Listen to this clip.
Now, all of a sudden, I find out that your ex-wife is talking personally to Dana White, Sean Shelby, Hunter about your medical stuff, and nobody's told me anything. Nobody's warned me, said Diego's anything. And so what is now...
So there you go. Diego's ex-wife is talking to his bosses, the UFC lawyers, and the reason they're doing that and they're not telling him is because they're talking, you know, they're in a back room talking or they're texting each other in the group chat. How the fuck are we going to get Diego Sanchez away from this lunatic, this cult leader, and get him some help that he truly needs, because he's fallen for this guy. He's been conned. You know, I said in the previous video, I showed a clip of Diego, and he says, if I was conned, I'd say I was conned. Well, you don't know you're being conned when you're being conned. That's why it's a con. So I really believe that's what was going on, and that's what he's talking about here. They were all conniving behind his back to try to figure out a way to get Diego away from this lunatic. And obviously he didn't like that. He was so controlling over Diego. It was very strange. And also, I don't have the clip on here, but he even goes to say he was texting Diego's wife for him. You know, he goes on, there's so much stuff in this interview, and again, I'll put the full link in the description, but he goes on to say, you know, I was trying to get medical records from the wife, I'm trying to get medical records from the UFC, I'm trying to get medical records from the commission, and he just talks in circles and makes absolutely no sense. But he does say at one point, I took Diego's phone and I texted his wife for him. Let me say this to her, which is just so strange and bizarre. So the next clip I'm going to play for you, which is absolutely hilarious. There's been some speculation online, and I've seen some YouTube videos and people talking about it, that basically, and I think it's just a theory. I haven't heard any evidence of this. You know, it's just a theory going around, that basically Diego didn't know some of these sexualized captions that Fabia was putting on the OnlyFans videos, which were just like training videos, but Fabia was putting weird stuff on there. And I'll play some clips for you in a minute. And this is the interviewers asking him about that. So here's the OnlyFans clip.
This is minutia. People are writing in, and what they're concerned about and what they're trying to address is stuff like the OnlyFans and him naked wrestling in a river. Like, that's the stuff that people are dumping on you.
What are you talking about? There's no naked wrestling in Aruba. There's no naked...
I said a river.
No one
and if
said
you
a river,
speak to me like that again, I'm going to hang up on you, man. Like, I'm being polite to you. I'm just asking for straight answers.
I don't know what you're even talking about. What? Okay,
on
ask me a
OnlyFans.
question here.
Okay. There is a perception that Diego Sanchez was not familiar with the kind of content you were putting up on OnlyFans. Is that true?
Diego knows exactly what's on there, and you can go look. It's all just training.
Naked wrestling in Aruba? That had me laughing so hard. What the interviewer was referring to, because she said river, not Aruba, but Fabia misunderstood her. There was apparently a picture on the OnlyFans of Diego and another fighter in a river, naked, practicing leg locks. I don't know if it can get any more bizarre than that. Who is paying for this OnlyFans content is what I would like to know. But his reaction was just absolutely priceless. I was dying laughing. But if you guys enjoyed content like this, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like the video. I'm going to play a couple more clips, and we can laugh really hard about this next one, because they challenge him. They say, what about this caption you had on this one photo of Diego training, and it was like the back of Diego while he was stretching? So let's listen to that clip.
Hold on, you're saying it's just training. How do you quote these, or someone quotes them? You guys have to approve them. So this is just training. Quotes like, you know, you like that little tight butt. What kind of training video is that exactly putting out there?
I like how you're in the media and you don't know that market.
I know you like that little tight butt. That was a caption that Fabia put on one of Diego's photos on OnlyFans. Now, I don't know. Maybe Diego knew about this. Maybe he didn't. But just Fabia is so weird. And this just puts more, you know, merit to the fact that people thought these guys were homosexuals, which I have no problem with. But it just adds to the layers of bizarreness that's going on, because maybe Fabia is and Diego isn't. And maybe Diego didn't realize what was going on here. I don't know. I guess at this point of the interview, what I took from it was that Fabia realized it wasn't going his way. So like the jealous girlfriend he is, he really starts slandering Diego's name and trying to say as many bad things as he can fit out in this interview. Let's listen to this next clip where he really makes some disturbing accusations.
I'm trying to express how I feel about what has happened in my time of 2 years of being slandered in the UFC, working for a guy that falsely represented himself as a regular person. As I get to more information as I'm with the lawyer, and the lawyer talks to Diego and asks Diego about his education, and he starts talking about he was in special education. Holy shit, huge red flags, man. This is not at all what anyone has perceived. And Diego is not anywhere near what anybody knows, man. And Diego has been an addict. He hadn't told anybody for the past 5 months I was his sponsor, living with him, that I had to live there because he was broke and lost all his money and strung out on kratom and alcohol and 30 other substances, that he has sexual abuse issues. No, he didn't say any of that, man. And I've been holding up all this. I've been doing everything, and everybody's coming at me.
So there's so many layers to that clip right there. He calls Diego a drug addict and alcoholic. And he says, I was Diego's sponsor. That's supposed to be someone that's there for him, helping him. What a piece of shit to go out there and spread Diego's business like this just because he's now cut ties with you. And this is an MMA channel, but on more of a personal level, there's certain types of people where you can be friends with them for years and you guys tell each other secrets. And then for some reason or another, you guys are no longer friends. And in my opinion, what was told in a friendship, especially some really personal stuff, is kept that way after the fact. It doesn't need to be spread out there. It's nobody else's business. Somebody told you that in confidence. And what Fabia is doing is saying, you know what, we're not friends anymore, so I'm going to say as much bad stuff about him as possible. What a little girl. He's acting like a 13-year-old girl who just had her heart broken. Sit out there and say, Diego's a drug addict and I was his sponsor. What a low-life piece of shit to be doing that type of stuff. If this guy really needs help and he's a drug addict, like Fabia implies, why are you going to go out there and trash his name? Are you trying to cause him more damage? You're supposed to be a guy that was campaigning for him. And if he doesn't want to do business with you anymore, that's your problem. Move on. You don't need to go to do some obscure podcast and talk as much shit as possible. Another thing I wanted to hint at in that interview, and I mentioned this earlier on in the video, is he said, I lived with him for months or whatever. He implied that he lived with him for a while. I don't remember how long he said he was. But you know what I find strange about that? Earlier in the video, and I showed you this clip, he was talking about how Diego lives in a 1-bedroom apartment. So where was Fabia sleeping is what I want to know. Are the rumors true? But at the end of the day, I think that, it was just an interesting takeaway. But the fact that he's calling this man a drug addict and alcoholic, instead of trying to get the man help, you're just out there trashing his name. At this point, the interviewers have realized they're not going to get any straight answers out of this idiot. They're getting ready to end the interview, and Fabia just keeps spouting off nonsense. And when I heard this, I could not believe this. I really think Fabia was racking his brain and saying, what else can I say bad about Diego? And he musters up this, which is just hilarious, but it's a steroid accusation. But listen to this. He sounds just like a little child just talking shit about his friend that they had their friendship ended, and this is what he's doing now. So just listen to this clip, and this entire podcast is disturbing. If you have time, just go listen to the entire thing. But I tried to compile the best clips from this podcast. So here's the last clip I'm going to play for you.
Diego is probably special needs. He needed to be properly cognitively studied. He never wanted to do any of that.
Well, he is in a study now. He is in a study now. So that is a good thing that came.
A brain study is one thing. Cognitive study and evaluation of other things to find out that the poor guy is not the same. Listen, we're in New Mexico, and if you're special needs in New Mexico, they just push you through school. So let me tell you another secret that Diego Sanchez didn't really want anybody to know. So Diego took steroids in high school to win the high school state wrestling.
I gotta say, we have to jump off.
So he goes on to say there, Diego is special needs, and they just pushed him right through school. If Diego really is special needs, and you know this, which I don't know that to be a fact, but that's what he's saying, why are you piling on a special needs man who's a drug addict and alcoholic? What is wrong with you? And then he goes on, let me tell you another secret that Diego doesn't want anybody to know. He took steroids in high school. What a drama queen. This guy is deranged. And I've said this in probably every single other video I did about Fabia. But for a guy who runs a company called the School of Self-Awareness, this guy is the least self-aware person I've ever seen in my entire life. He's got the psyche of a potential future mass shooter. He doesn't realize he makes himself look bad. You know, this entire interview, he's trying to trash Diego and make Diego look bad because his heart is broken that the fact Diego cut ties with him. But he just digs himself a hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And I really am just so tired of hearing this guy. And I've always loved Diego as a fighter. And I hope now that he's away from this parasite, I hope he finds the true help that he actually needs and he gets his life back straight. I still don't know if another promotion would pick him up, but I'll tell you this. I think a promotion would be far more likely to pick him up without Fabia by his side. And I just think this was for the best. And I know a lot of people love Diego, and I've never seen a combination of two guys who are supposed friends, and you have one guy that's so beloved and another guy that's so hated. So I think that pretty much does it for this video. I've tried to cover the entire podcast as much as I could, give you the best clips so you don't have to go search them out. But I'll put the link in the description for the entire thing. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure to like the video. It took a lot of work to put this video together, compile all these clips for you guys. So just do me a favor, like the video. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. And thank you so much for watching.